Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Nerd Chronicles. This is your host, Christian Paul speaking. Alright? This following episode here contains graphic content that may not be suitable for definitely children and some other viewers involved, which could involve graphic language, visual graphic content, and or both. Viewer discretion is advised.
For all my fellow men out there, please stop looking up to Andrew Tate. He is a bad guy. And just some examples of that, he's an alleged human trafficker. He said he moved to Romania as it's easier to assault women there. He said some women put themselves in a position to be assaulted. He's compared women to dogs, children, and other objects. He said that women are worse drivers, even though there's literally no data to support that. He also runs a pyramid scheme, which just basically scams people out of their money. But the list goes on and on. But Andrew Tate is a very bad guy and just a very bad influence generally. He's not an alpha male. He's an alleged human trafficker, a huge misogynist, and a scammer.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of The Nerd Chronicles. This is your host, Proud Lane, certified beta male simp man John, or whatever, there's no game. The sociocultural nerd Christian Paul has entered the building once again. We're going to this situation and an update with the gunning of Andrew Tate. And as you all know, Andrew Tate is currently not free. He's actually serving house arrest, still being waited to be indicted, as we know. And we find out there's actually a Google Docs search that shows literally about 80 pages of accusations and transcripts and texts when it comes with Andrew Tate and his alleged accusers that they actually had to change the name for further protection. Right, so this is basically the transactions with the messages that's transcribed on WhatsApp that's actually shown in law enforcement, like messages you see with texts. I don't know if it's email or anything like that. And not only that, you're dealing with like also some stuff that's actually self-incriminating by yours truly here, that mainly deals with pimping, coercion, fallacy equals fraud, admitting to actually abusing women whenever, women, and according to him, they step out of line, however it may be. And you wonder why Andrew Tate, unfortunately, has been blocked within various social media accounts. So, recently, Andrew Tate has done an interview with BBC in which they questioned him based on the findings that has been presented down to the public by local prosecutors. And I saw some of the stuff, and, Andrew Tate actually clearly denied some of the stuff that's actually been done, and it's literally been a shit show for you to basically summarize the whole ordeal. And now we have this response after the interview by yours truly, Mr. Andrew Tate. This is going to be our first time actually viewing all this whole stuff together, so let's actually dig in and go with this whole ordeal.
In the interest of saving absolutely everybody's time, I feel like doing a generalized statement to all legacy media inside of the Matrix. And I'm doing it.
Here you go. BBC. When it's a Matrix, and even though there's outright evidence of him bragging about criminal activity, all this overwhelming evidence that he keeps putting out on social media that's making himself vulnerable, and when he gets challenged and when he gets caught or when he could get potentially accused, it's all of a sudden he's going to keep saying, oh, the Matrix trying to trap me and all that. Yo. This your Alpha Guru? Alright.
Save their time and mine, as well as protect the minds of the masculine youth for the future. I want to make it very clear that the legacy media, which I enjoyed the company of today, have made a massive mistake and missed a chance to do some genuinely interesting journalism.
Huh? How so? They clearly been asking questions that's actually done some thorough investigative journalism that's literally showing your text messages with all these other women that they literally showing blatantly right in front of you, and you vehemently denying it. Man.
After being unfairly incarcerated in a Romanian dungeon, I thought that even the BBC, in its absolute arrogance and hubris, would be smart enough to come to me after 6 months, being the first interview I gave to The Matrix, and be smart enough to ask questions people were genuinely interested in.
And they have. But if you know you're going to feel that heat and you know you can't even have like a serious rebuttal, then why bring them on? But again, Marine prosecutors, they have until about the end of June, early July to actually give like official charges, which I don't even like their system. But again, he's not yet been indicted. And yes, Andrew Tate officially is not free as of yet. If they don't make any official charges or if they don't give any official indictments come early July, Andrew Tate is officially a free man. And, a lot of the hardcore fans of his are actually going to hail him as a martyr as well as his own brother.
What's it like inside of a Romanian prison cell? How were you treated? Why was a person's liberty deprived of them for 6 months without charge?
That I agree with him on that. You still trying to dig all this evidence here? I'll agree with him on this part though.
Was your mental state post your unfair incarceration? Things people are genuinely interested in hearing. But instead, they came with the same old talking points. And I'd like to address all of these talking points to the Matrix media now to prevent this happening again, because it's a monumental waste of everybody's time. I say things on the internet. I've been making content on the internet for a very long time. Finding a clip from 2016, 8 years ago, finding a 4-hour-long podcast from 2016, ignoring all context, ignoring everything positive I say about men and women and the world, and taking a single sentence and trying to pretend that's my entire worldview is not the bombshell you think it is.
But you have other consistent, constant digital footprints that you also left out that you had also post 2016 that almost says virtually literally the same shit. Within social media context, with emergency meetings, all the other stuff that actually came by, and even in your own website, you're talking about how to actually pimp women out and manipulate women to actually come into your webcam business that you could potentially be building. And you have other text messages saying to other women that, you could try and make a ploy off of like lonely men that are extremely depressed and actually make a ploy off them to the webcam service and play them off and finesse fleece them off their money. That's your words, Andrew, not theirs. And it's presented on the word set by the general public. The evidence is literally out there for the whole public to see. Actually, let me go back. My apologies.
Nobody cares. Everybody understands what satire is. Finding a 4-hour-long podcast from 2016, ignoring all context, ignoring everything positive I say about men and women and the world, and taking a single sentence and trying to pretend that's my entire worldview is not the bombshell you think it is. Nobody cares. Everybody understands what satire is. Everybody understands what a joke is. Everybody understands it's the internet. Everybody understands all of these things. Plus, the people who know the truth of my message are very capable of understanding what is satirical and what is true. People are not as stupid as you'd like them to be. Sitting down with me and missing the chance to have a genuinely interesting interview with genuinely interesting questions that people are interested in hearing the answers to. And
they have.
Instead, attempting this attack to get this bombshell aha moment is never going to work. Because one, I'm too smart for all of you. And two,
I don't want to even say that homeboy's too smart because he can't even make a strong fruit over like some evidence that's extremely blatant. And now he's very desperate to try to cover his ass.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares I made a joke 8 years ago because everybody knows I was joking. And everybody knows the truth of my message. So you're wasting absolutely everybody's time. Worse than wasting everybody's time, what you're genuinely doing is damaging the minds of young men. And I think I have a responsibility as one of the most influential men on the planet to protect the minds of young men and all of the men who look up to me. Nobody, no young man below the age of 30 has any interest in what the BBC or the legacy media say. They don't care and they don't watch it. Unless I appear on there.
Some of them do. Some may just be interested. It could be based from person to person. We don't really know that for sure.
So when I sit across from a reporter who says that having a nice car makes you a misogynist, it's disingenuous.
You
And
have
also,
an image of financial success
correct.
with a Bugatti and a cigar,
But more so it's the actions that actually make him a misogynist based on what he says, and him pronouncing criminal activity. It's not really the material stuff that makes him that. It's more so with the actions and with the arrogance that comes by and certain words and certain moves that he's made that a lot of people have labeled him as misogynist. You know, basically saying, oh, bang with him, say boon and they scribble by the neck, you know, all these cuss words and like all the berating. That's why you see like a lot of women literally try to dumb down him and literally try to cancel him right now, unfortunately.
You cheater, you cheating. It's bang out the machete, boom in her face, and then grip her up by the neck. Like, shut up, bitch!
comes with a side order of misogyny.
How does having a Bugatti and a cigar come with misogyny?
Because it's all mixed together in what you teach.
I find that to be extremely dangerous rhetoric. I find that to be extremist rhetoric. And I think it's very dangerous for young men to think if they work hard for something in their lives, if they dedicate themselves and they're diligent and hardworking and they try hard, that they'll be a bad person. I hate the idea of a world where a man who dedicates himself to excellence so he can enjoy the finer things in life is criticized and ostracized and called horrible names purely because he's been a hardworking male. And I don't like young men hearing these extremist ideas. And they're only going to hear these extremist ideas if they watch the BBC, which is an extremist organization. And they're only going to watch the BBC if I talk to the BBC. So I feel like now that these people have proved themselves to be extremist and very damaging to the minds of young men, I have an obligation to not interact with them very much because I don't want them spreading their extremist propaganda. We have a men's mental health crisis. Young men are disenfranchised. The suicide rate amongst men is much higher than women, and everybody pretends to care. But when I come along and say, I am a man, I've been a man, I know how it feels to be a sad man and a happy man, and I found happiness through masculine achievement and strength, through working hard in the gym, through dedicating myself, through building a life worth living, through taking care of the people who I love, both male and female, through becoming financially successful, through sticking up for myself, through having opinions, through being a man of honor and courage. When I do these things, I'm ostracized and they're attempting to destroy my life. This goes beyond a few media interviews. They are attempting to put me in jail and destroy my life.
Actually, no. They're actually accelerating it. And I understand that mainstream media could be biased, you know, in certain times, and they have their own agendas as well. I get that. But when you put yourself in a vulnerable position by bragging about criminal activity and doing all this crazy shit that comes by, they will pounce on it and try to use that and try and fuel their narrative and actually try and get you up gone. Because any digital footprint that you put can literally haunt you, or if you actually do something wrong and you get caught on digital footprint, it can literally be stuck with you for the remainder of your life. Whenever shit goes south, whenever actually shit goes bad, it's going to continue to follow you.
I'm helping young men. They don't care about men's mental health. They have no interest at all. In fact, the ideas they purport, like I've just explained, are genuinely damaging to the mindset of young men. On top of this, they waste everybody's time because their aha moment never works. Nobody's interested in it, and I destroy them with ease. But my hourly rate is high. It's not very fun for me to do. I just do it. It has to be done, but I don't particularly enjoy it. I allowed you into my home. I'm doing you a favor, giving you the first interview I'm giving to the public. You don't come here.
Why did he do it in the first place, Andrew? Why?
Position of authority. You're not the police. I don't respect the BBC. I don't know.
Then why you bring him in the home in the first place? Do you see? God, man. Let's go.
You do not come here with a position of authority over me. We are equals. We are people. We're citizens of the world, and we sit here as equals. And I see you as my equal, and if you ask me questions, I can ask you questions back. For you to come here and sit down and pretend you're the Gestapo and that you don't have to answer my questions is disingenuous because I don't owe you anything.
Asking questions and you answer.
But I don't owe, no.
However you want.
This is a conversation, and I don't owe you any degree of authority over me. So let's make that clear. And that doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman or from the BBC or the CNN. I'm here to answer your questions and be honest with you and do you a favor.
Great.
And I'm doing you a favor. But you come here with loaded questions. You're trying to paint a narrative of me which is negative.
I'm asking you
And
about
that's
things
fine.
you've said that people are concerned about.
There we go. Do you see? There we go. That's literally on the internet, on WhatsApp, where all the live messages, as well as his own site. Oh, God.
And that's fine.
You
But you're not going to
said
sit here and say you don't answer my questions because you're not above me. So, in the interest of spreading good and positivity in the world, which is my number one objective, I am making this clear to all legacy media outlets. I will no longer interact with you for free. Nobody cares that you lie about me, and nobody cares what you say. You have destroyed all of your credibility in the last 4 years of constantly lying about everything. And continuing to lie about me will only destroy your credibility further. I have an organization called Tate Pledge, which you can see. Go to CobraTate.com and click at Tate Pledge, and you will see that I dedicate $25 million a year to feeding children, both male and female, in war-torn countries. I would like to think that even the legacy media can agree that feeding children in Sudan, or Turkish children after an earthquake, or Syrian children in refugee camps is a pretty positive thing to do for the world. In my last BBC interview, she tried to spin it and say that what I'm doing is somehow negative because I'm only doing it for myself. But this is the level of delusion these people operate under.
Because some people would look at that and say, okay, so before you got money from attracting people to your website by making controversial comments, but that might have got you into trouble. And so now you're looking for a new market. You're looking for a new market of followers who are attracted by a different sort of persona.
I've always done the charity work, so that is obviously incorrect. And I have proof that I've always done the charity work, so you're wrong. Tate Pledge is funded 100% by me. This is my personal money. But I believe if the legacy media is intent on spreading hate, intent on spreading extremist ideologies, which it seems they are, not only the extremist ideology that men shouldn't work hard, but also a bunch of other ones, which I don't need to mention because most thinking people understand what the legacy media is trying to purport on not only the population, but the young children of the world. And what they are trying to push is far more damaging than me saying you should go to the gym. Therefore, I no longer have any interest with interacting with the legacy media for free because I don't want their extremist views shown to young children without doing some good for the world. My fee from this point onwards is $50,000 and a box of chocolates. That is what it is going to cost you to speak to me. If you are from the Matrix, you will give me $50,000 in advance, which will be donated to Tate Pledge, which will be used to feed children in war-torn countries. And you will also bring a box of chocolates to my gate, which I will ingest as I listen to your Matrix propaganda and destroy you. Because I deserve chocolates if I have to put up with you. I'm an extremely successful man, and my time is valuable. And you're wasting mine, yours, and everybody else's. So if you're going to come along with your extremist ideas, I would at least sleep better at night if you were feeding some poor, innocent children somewhere in the world. But you have no interest in doing any good for the earth. You're only interested in spreading hate, unlike me who wants to do good things. So, post my BBC interview, I've been contacted by the New York Times, CNN, the Clinton News Network, all of them. And they're all desperate to interview me because they understand the number of views it will get. I want to try now, I want to try now. And they all want to try a different version of the same aha moment. Not understanding, because they're completely detached from reality, that it's not an aha moment and nobody cares. They're not interested, they're not smart enough to look at the board of the chessboard and say, this isn't going to work. Let's ask him questions people actually care about. They're not that smart. So if you want to waste your time and mine, that's what it's going to cost you. $50,000. I managed to procure meals at around 80 cents each, so we'll feed over 60,000 children for wasting an hour of my time, plus a box of chocolates. That is my fee from this point forward. I will still speak to non-Matrix media outlets who are interested in the truth, interested in asking interesting questions that people want to hear the answers to. I will still be available to do my own podcasts and tell the truth. But as long as legacy media retain their reputation as peddlers of extremist ideology, I no longer have any interest in promoting them and making them relevant. It's better we allow them to become irrelevant, which they are doing, through their own dishonest actions. I will no longer interact with any of you for free ever again. So, to the 64 journalists who have emailed me so far since the BBC interview, do you have $50,000 in a box of chocolates? Because I'm not interested in speaking to you for any other reason. I actually think I'm being quite kind only charging 50 grand. I should charge 200 grand, but I'm a nice man. And $50,000 will still feed a lot of children. I promise any legacy media outlet that pays me the fee can have an interview. And I also promise to provide full accounting and receipts to prove that that money goes directly to charity, to feeding children in war-torn countries. But I will no longer allow the Matrix propaganda machine to infect the minds of innocent children by using my relevance to achieve interviews and get views they would never normally get to spread hateful propaganda. If you can't afford me, you're gonna have to go back to just lying about me without speaking to me. Because God knows the truth, I know the truth, most of the world knows the truth, and I genuinely believe that Allah is the best of planners, and whatever happens to me, regardless of whether I am martyred, regardless of whether they put a bullet in my brain, I know what I have done is good for the world, and the things I will do will continue to be good for the world. Get your checkbooks out, or don't email me at all, because there will be no compromise. I don't care what you try and do and say to goad me into an interview. You can lie about me all you want. It's what you do already. I'm not afraid of your lies. It's going to cost 50 grand plus a box of chocolates.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's some very, very interesting stuff that we have seen. But I will definitely tell you this: I'm not gonna go too far up in like their little narratives and everything. But what I do know is that the evidence has been presented by WhatsApp. That's definitely presented by the police, as well as him literally self-snitching right in the general public. That's what we know, and that's what we know is definitely a given. I personally met basically a dude that came by up in the city that is really like a huge Andrew Tate fan, and I can understand to those Andrew Tate fans that are literally watching, and like, you know, if you want to still support him at this point, whatever you want to do, whether he gets indicted or not, that is your right. I'm not going to stop you based on like what you have to decide to do, but I will say this: when it comes to the real world, basically given in my field, if you're getting paid literally about $80,000, $90,000, $100,000, $110,000, $120,000, $130,000, $140,000 really starting off, and they catch you spewing some narrative similar to Andrew Tate, more than like your ass be canned, your ass be gone. And if it's trailed during social media and you actually try to apply for a new job, that trail will follow you. I guarantee you that. Because you're going to be dealing with companies that are actually more worried about their image and reputation. And if they see you having this type of stuff when you're working for them, your ass will not last long. I will promise you that. Okay? I can promise you these things. Now, if you have your own business and you do know all this other stuff similar to that, you may still have a following, and you may have like some support for a time financially. But God forbid, if like the authorities come and catch you, whether it's federal or international, and you spew about criminal activity, your days could be numbered as well.
You see?
Right? So I do want to actually try and make something very clear. You want to try and put your faith in someone whose brother just donated like literally like 15,000 or like racks on racks on racks toward the murder of Jordan Neely's law firm. You want to try and like deal with someone like this, who in which he got literally lynched on camera, okay, and literally donate money to that law firm up there. You want to try and like be with somebody like this. You want to be with somebody who has a reputation of actually being contradictory, who has some very deep ties to criminal enterprises that are literally on his ass, that's literally tied to a pyramid scheme, literally the whole 9 yards. You want to try and pledge your allegiance to this whole ordeal. And I have the link that CLR Bruce Rivers has posted up when it comes to prosecutors having a fuckwad of evidence, 80 pages worth, by the way, of transcripts between Andrew Tate and his accusers. And they're actually filing the charges literally in the weeks to come, which could be very highly likely that he could be officially charged literally within a month or so. Worst case scenario, or if he does he does get cleared, right? If he does get acquitted from all indictments or anything like that, or he hasn't been charged, they're gonna hit on his mom. But the chances of that are purely maybe very little or slim to none. Who knows? But I ain't gonna rush to judge anything. You believe evidence that's actually presented. You don't believe agendas, which side is on. You believe the evidence that's actually blatant right in front of your face. And I will leave it at that. So again, are these alpha gurus that you rely on, right? That spit all this craziness, that try and give you that little illusion, based to the public, and they entice you with this, man. A lot of them red pill grifters, man, they hit for a narrative. And I will be able to actually spew every single last one of that down and let you know that that type of stuff ain't practical in real life. So with that, Christian Paul for the Nerd Chronicles is signing out. Deuces.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we do have some heat, if you know what I mean. We have some folks a while ago that are literally fuming based on what went down when it comes to the Top G BBC situation. And I know I see like a couple of folks saying that my voice needs to be cleared up because I'm not actually speaking clearly, even though I already have like some captions that I have already placed up. Let me get some edits for future videos. I understand. I thank you guys truly for the constructive criticism, by the way.
You see?
But I understand this ain't really about the voice corruption or anything like that. This is more so folks literally being triggered due to the fact that they are literally hardcore fans of the Top G, as well as hardcore fans of the red pill space that will do everything in their power to hold down the Top G and defend the Top G and the red pill from any further criticisms of their talking points, even if the talking points are fictional. Which leads us literally to a number one reality. Even though, if Andrew Tate, who knows about the whole outcome of the case, regardless of the outcome of this case, whether he gets charged or not, and if he does get charged, which is a big if, whether or not he's guilty, there will still be folks that will literally hold him down to the T, whether he's right or whether he's wrong. And this shows a reflection on their character, on who they are as people, and what their mindsets are, and what they represent at the end of the day, and what their narrative is, what they want their narrative to mainly be when it all comes down to it. Even if Andrew Tate or any of these red pill gurus won't even bother coming to their aid, whenever like they're really deep shit, or they get caught up in some trouble actually trying to reiterate the same stuff that Top G is saying or Marvin Gaye is saying, or they basically act an ass whenever like Rolo acts an ass, having be do the same stuff, and God forbid they get caught. None of them red pill gurus, none of them red pill alpha gurus will be there to literally save they ass. They're on their own. Don't believe BBC. Do not believe Andrew Tate. Believe the evidence that is actually given, that is actually blared right in front of your face through websites, through YouTube content, through social media content, as well as transcripts that has been presented by that person's literally said account, by your local authorities, by, I won't even say mainstream, but definitely local authorities with actual WhatsApp transcripts. Believe those, okay? Because if it was through AI, I guarantee you they still would have been charged, or they would actually grant that permission to actually utilize the AI function. Y'all need to wake up, man. Y'all really do.
Do you see?